Parents, what was the moment you saw your child's spirit break? My son Jacob was 10 when it happened. He'd always been the kind of kid who lit up every room. One of those kids who talked to everyone, made friends at the park 5 minutes after arriving, asked questions about everything. Curious, loud, full of life. He wore capes around the house for fun and built elaborate Lego cities with stories behind each building. His favorite was a pizza restaurant staffed entirely by ninjas. We had just moved to a new town after my divorce from his dad. It was messy. The kind of split where the house gets sold, the schedules get printed and pinned to the fridge, and the silences during pickups stretch miles wide. Jacob was taking it in stride, or so I thought. He didn't cry when we left our old place. He hugged his dad goodbye and climbed into my car without a word. The new school was smaller, less diverse. Jacob, with his wild curly hair and mismatched socks, stood out in ways that weren't charming to the other boys. I remember dropping him off that first week and watching him pause on the steps, lunchbox swinging in his hand, scanning the playground before walking slowly toward a bench. At home, he didn't say much, just little comments like how the kids didn't laugh at his joke in class, or how nobody wanted to trade snacks with him at lunch. I told myself it was just the adjustment phase. New school, new kids, he'd settle in. Then came the science fair. Jacob had been excited about it. He decided to do a project on volcanoes, but not the usual baking soda kind. He researched real volcanic eruptions, made a cardboard topographic model of Mount St. Helens, and recorded a voiceover to go with it using my old phone. He even stayed up late editing sound effects into it. Rumbling, explosions, birds flying away. He was proud of it. He kept asking if I thought the other kids would like it. When the night of the fair came, he wore a button-up shirt he'd picked himself. We got there early to set up. I watched him arrange his display board and carefully place his volcano model in front. He made sure the iPad with his video was charged. His hands shook a little when he smoothed the tablecloth. The other kids started arriving. Lots of parents, teachers walking around. Some of the displays were flashier. Motion sensors, lights, even one with dry ice. Jacob stood by his project, smiling, waiting for someone to stop and listen to the video he made. But most people just walked past. A few glanced at it and kept moving. One kid from his class came over, looked at the volcano and said, "That's it?" Then laughed and walked off. Jacob said nothing. He just stood there. I watched his shoulders slump ever so slightly. He stopped making eye contact with people. He turned the volume down on the video so it wouldn't draw attention. At one point, he just sat in the chair behind the table and stared at his shoes. Near the end of the night, a judge finally came by. She asked him a few questions, and he answered them softly, barely looking up. After she walked away, he quietly started packing up. The fair wasn't over, but he was done. In the car on the way home, he didn't speak. When we got inside, he went to his room without taking off his shoes. I found him lying on his bed, volcano still in the box by the door. The next morning, I found the volcano model in the kitchen trash can. He'd broken it in half before throwing it away. The iPad still had the video on it, but he never watched it again. Over the next few weeks, he stopped wearing his capes. The Lego cities stayed boxed up in his closet. He started saying things like, "It doesn't matter," or "I don't care," when I asked about school. His voice got quieter. He stopped raising his hand in class, his teacher said, just sat there, doodling in the margins of his worksheets. He never signed up for the next science fair. I still have the video saved in my email. Sometimes I watch it when he's asleep. It starts with Jacob's voice, cheerful and excited, explaining how pressure builds inside a volcano before it erupts. At the end, there's a little boom sound effect, and then silence. His voice says, "That's my project. I hope you liked it." And then it cuts off. He never mentioned that night again, but something changed in him after it. The sparkle dulled, the way he carried himself, the way he looked at the world. It was like he realized, all at once, that not everyone would be kind, that sometimes you try your hardest and still get ignored, that being different didn't always mean being special. That was the night I saw my son's spirit break.